Other interesting cultural news, you have Budlight, closer to kickoff tweet, but so much further from the truth, as most comments are being more and more censored, and the positive comments, if any, are seemingly fake. Well, perhaps fake as well as people with no personalities and or. So going to the Bud Light, and again, I have to use my different profile for this. So this is the Topping Show handle on Twitter that I used to see Bud Light, because they blocked my personal Twitter because I had the audacity to respond saying, thank you for reminding me to buy Yangling, and a picture of some with a couple of Yangling bottles and cans in front of my carbon fiber American flag over on in my studio for my interview podcast. Ridiculous to say the least, of course. Now, specifically the quote that came along with Bud Light is, because they had a little graphic, so the quote is, another hour closer to kickoff and another fan just scored beer money. Keep replying at easy to celebrate and at sweepstakes to make every hour a chance to win. And then they have a picture of the Kansas City or KC, because it's got an arrow on it. I want to say it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Now I'm curious, do they have a sports balls team? Ball team name. I didn't know Kansas had football. I was right, the Chiefs. I know the sports balls better than I thought. Although at the end of the day, all you really need to know is the Patriots and then the Tampa Bay team. Really wherever Tom Brady is, and then you just know who won the Super Bowl. That's a majority of NFL knowledge, I believe, for the sports ball stats you need to know. So they've gotten to the point where they're just bribing people. Because again, they admittedly said they're going to spend a lot of money on marketing because they had the business plan of the century of insulting their core audience base, as well as people in the middle, as well as people on the right. Now, interestingly enough, someone responded to the comments last week saying, people on the right are boycotting this company, you're hurting an American company, great job. Which, there are many things wrong with that statement, and I'll appropriately respond to that tonight when I catch up with the comments. I do apologize, sometimes it takes some time to respond to them, but I always do respond, and I always keep the comments open. The only exception, and I don't like this, is when Google shuts it down, which I find morally, mentally vacuous and deplorable, to actually shut down conversations between people who actually want to have a conversation. Disgusting, because censorship is disgusting. But nevertheless, they're not American owned. You could argue they're hybrid because they're bought out by InBev over in Belgium, which they make good rifles, and perhaps some good coffee, or no, waffles are rifles. There's some redeeming factors of Belgium, don't get me wrong, but it's not really an American company anymore. The Bush family sold off. They sold it. And in terms of people on the right boycotting, I know a lot of people in the middle who are boycotting them as well, and people on the left. Don't forget, Bud Light, say what you want, you have people on the left who are saying that they did not, quote unquote, stand with Dylan Mulvaney. Because they did not do that, you actually have gay bars who are boycotting Bud Light as well. Famously, there's a holding company in Chicago where they own, I believe, 4 or 6 bars in the Chicagoland area, and there's a gay bar holding company, and they said adamantly they would refuse to serve Anheuser-Busch products again because they did not stick with Dylan. It's not just people on the right who are boycotting Bud Light. Quite the opposite. It's actually people on the left and people in the middle and people on the right. So perhaps opposite isn't the best word. It's a boycott that's affecting many political groups, as well as people who just don't want to have a conversation of why are you drinking that piss water. Well, maybe it's a bad habit. In this case, maybe they got it for free. Now, literally just the only way they can overwhelm the negative responses is to have people want free beer, which free, what's the cost to your dignity, sir? If you actually reply to that wanting free beer, I can't imagine how bad your life is for you to actually hope to win free Bud Light. Like that, imagine, how sad is that? Like your life is so bad, a highlight is you taking the time to actually put your name, put the comment on there on the Twitter, and hope you win a case of Bud Light. Perhaps that's a great example of something that could be a winner and a loser at the same time. A rare phenomenon, but a phenomenon nevertheless. Now, in terms of statistics on how many people actually looked at this, they did get some more likes than usual. So they got 178,000 views. So a little bit better than usual. And they actually did get more likes. They usually get between 50 to 150 likes, presumably the last people who still work there. Now, in this case, they got 1,249 likes out of 178,000 views. Now, we'll do a little math here today because, public schools are all-time low for math scores. Well, also science and also history, which perhaps explains some of the many bad things that are happening in the United States. But we'll do some fun math here today. That's a 0.70 like ratio. Not the best, obviously. Now, in terms of some of the top responses, you have some by the name of Autumn Rain, which makes sense. I suppose it does rain in autumn. Name is appropriate. I approve. Now, this person says, quote, "No one wants a Bud Light," unquote. This person got 1,333 views and 70 likes, which is a pretty darn good ratio, coming in at 5.24%. That's quite pretty good. You also have someone by the name of Billy Williams saying, quote, "I love the fact that I live in a major city and every restaurant I go to mysteriously does not have Bud Light or Budweiser on tap or even on the menu. That's never happened in my life." Now, that person got 610 views and 33 likes. It's pretty darn good. That is also a 5.4% like ratio. Quite impressive. You also have an individual by the name of Lucy Fur saying, quote, "If let your friends know you're drinking a real beer," quote, and then she has a koozie that says "not Bud Light." And she got 432 views and 20 likes, giving her a ratio of 4.63%, which that's pretty good. But you might wonder, where's our friend Rich Money, or Mooney? The guy who does all the awesome polls and statistics. He's usually prominently there, and his messaging is not pejorative or disparaging to Bud Light. He usually just posts saying, hey, if you were to be at the store today, what would you buy? Would you buy an Anheuser InBev product, or would you buy not an Anheuser-Busch InBev product? Well, he's there, but he's hidden. Because Bud Light, like people who have the most morally vacuous ideas in history, they don't believe in free speech. Bud Light is hiding pretty much every negative, or even in this case, observational post that they can think of. So they're getting rid of these polls, and I can't help. Those are, three of the most. Those are the ones that I just told you about. Those are the three most popular comments by the number of likes. There are other comments, but they're all these, and I don't know. These people have to set up a bot or something. I can't imagine you have enough time in your life to click on these bullshit sweepstakes. Now, there's probably. Oh, it never ends. It's got to be a bot. There's got to be a way to do that. Because I'm scrolling through their Twitter right now. It is a bunch of people just saying the hashtags for the sweepstakes where they could sadly win a case of Bud Light. And interestingly enough, none of them are actually getting likes. They're just, oh no, someone got one like that. They did get one like that is something. It's just all fake responses and sweepstakes responses. So in terms of think about the future of Bud Light, they might just only do sweepstakes, because then they'll have the people who have these bots or presumably too much time in their hand where they'll go and they'll enter the sweepstakes. Because I clicked on some of these profiles, anecdotally speaking, I checked out 4 profiles who were saying just, hashtag sweepstakes. Their whole life is sweepstakes. Every one of their posts, every notification, everything on their profile has to do with some business doing a sweepstakes, which is ridiculous. But getting to the hidden replies for this particular Bud Light post, you find our friend Rich Money, M-U-N-Y, and he is saying, quote, "To create a false illusion of support rather than using transparent tools like reporting offensive tweets, limiting replies, and sending tweets to hidden replies, at Bud Light abuses the blocking function by blocking thousands for being unsupportive." I can't help but agree even more. Now, in terms of this tweet, I said it was closer to kickoff but further from the truth. Well, it's one of those instances where it's also further from sales. Now, thanks to Rich, and again, this particular tweet, it's not disparaging. He's not saying, Bud Light go to hell. Most people are thinking that, but he just says, here's some sales figures. And he says, quote, Bud Light sales are down 30.3% by volume from last year, while Budweiser is down 14.4% by volume. And of course, the rebates have grown widely available. And if you look at the other hidden responses, the other ones are Alyssa Heiderchild, who will go down in history as one of the worst marketing, I was about to say minds, but a mind would be too much of a compliment, perhaps mentally vacuous persons in history. She was a person who thought, that's a good idea. Let's hire someone who, Dylan Mulvaney's core audience are his teenagers on TikTok and children on TikTok. Let's give this person a brand deal. Turned out to be not a good deal at all. So thanks to Alyssa Heiderchild, they've lost $20 billion in stock valuation, and so far, $400 million in sales. That was just for fiscal Q2. It's going to get even worse because, again, as we're reporting this week over week, you look at the week over week sales, they're all down 27 to 30% on average. So Q3 numbers are right around the corner, fiscal Q3, and it's not going to be good. So you have her, Alyssa Heiderchild, standing on the grave with a little peace sign, and of course, on the gravestone, and the gravestone says Anheuser-Busch 1876 to 2023. So those are some of the hidden responses, and unfortunately, we're just going to see more and more of this. What's a nice way of saying censorship? Oh, there is no nice way of saying censorship. Morally vacuous censorship. And again, call me old-fashioned, but I'm one of those folks where I might not agree with everything you have to say, but I'll fight to the death for your right to say it. And a good example is just look at my videos where I critique the United Auto Workers. A lot of people do not like those videos, but I keep the comments open and I address them appropriately. I take the time to research my points. In the comment section, I'll tell them, hey, here's an article where I saw the cost of labor compared to the other companies such as Toyota and Honda. Here's why I think this particular bargaining point from the AW is not realistic with this hyper-competitive global economy in this instance. Again, some of them just tell me I'm awful, which, again, quantify it a little bit or critique. Make it so it's actually a constructive critique, so I can at least research your point. Make it more articulate and constructive. Would make things a little bit easier. But, again, I keep the comments open, unlike Bud Light, because I know they're just indefensible and they're not getting any support anytime soon. Let me know in the comments. Do you think, will they ever let up on the censorship? Will they ever decrease that? Or will it just get worse and worse as a futile attempt to try to keep the negativity at bay or decrease it? They're trying really hard, and these sweepstakes are somewhat effective because, again, it's plastering all these people's stuff on there as they futilely want to win a Bud Light, which I can't think of a more unappealing sweepstakes in my life. Of all the things I've seen, we could win a car, you could win a vacation, or anything. I can't think of anything, any prize worse than Bud Light. Like, I would not even take the time necessary and the cost to drive 5 minutes to the grocery store to redeem that. Because that 5 minutes, not only my time is worth something, it's worth presumably something, but the gas to get there, even if they delivered the Bud Light to me, it wouldn't be worth my time to enter it on the sweepstakes. It's also perhaps because it tastes like piss water. Allegedly, I haven't had it. I am an early adopter. Mark the record. I haven't had a Bud Light or bought Bud Light, I believe, since when was I in Iowa in college? Jeez, what was it? 2009, 15 years? Time is going by way too quick, but about a decade, I'd say. Nevertheless, quite some time. Also, on average, I prefer spirits on the occasion calls for it, but I partially digress. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in today. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. I know it's ambitious, but trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of September, I think we could do it together. Don't forget to take the time to comment and like the video. I really appreciate the feedback, whether it's making my speech or trying to make my speech slow down a little bit, try to be a little bit more articulate in the videos. Thanks to you, I was able to bring that more to my attention, put it on my list of things that I'm trying to improve on, or whether it's giving me feedback, whether it comes to the UAW issue, or maybe it's political stats, or maybe just your experience in certain business segments. More data, the better. I'd love to hear your experiences, and I could bring them up next time we talk about them on the show. So don't forget to leave the comments. I greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to take the time to tell your friends, tell your families, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.